Hey everybody, happy Freeform Friday tutorial stream. No, I don't know what my hair is doing. We're just gonna ride right on past the fact that I have no idea what my hairs are doing tonight and say hey. Hope everyone is doing well wherever you are out in the wilds of the internet today. Sorry, and my volume is behind my camera, so I'm just making sure I do actually have audio, which I do. Yes. It's always nice when you know, the technology works. It's true. No one in DFW has control over the hairs until at least another month from now when the humidity finally settles the heck down. To be fair, this is also a little bit of I got up at 7 a.m. to do class samples, and then I had to take a nap before I came to work because I couldn't, you know, be confident in my ability to drive because I was too tired. So there's a little bit of that going on as well. So welcome to Freeform Friday. So what I'm doing or going to attempt to do tonight is I'm going to try to well, Lori, I think that most people in DFW would agree that it's one and the same. So what I'm going to try and do for you all tonight is focus my hand cam. That's what I'm going to start with. Nope, didn't do that before the broadcast. You know, someday, I'll have all of my collective SHIT together, but today is obviously not that day, and just, you know, spoiler alert, tomorrow's really not looking good either. You know, maybe sometime next year. Maybe in 2022, I'll actually have my collective shit together, but once again, maybe not. Anyway, what I'm going to try and do for y'all this evening is I'm going to try and make a wire tree of life and actually wrap it around this quartz point. Because we have a bunch of cool quartz points here in the store that I think are being less loved than they should be. So we're going to attempt to make a tree of life on this quartz point. And Amy, you have to have some kind of like mod or sensor thing going on with your Twitch, because it's censoring something, but what the heck just got censored? Like, I don't even know what anybody typed that would be censored, but sometimes the Twitch, it's the Baptist version of Twitch.
Not according to my Baptist church.
Alright, Amy, Lori says set your settings to allow adult content, and then you will get to see the funny stuff.
But seriously, what was adult?
I don't know. Apparently the funny stuff. Yeah. I mean, I got nothing. So anyway, quartz crystal. I'm going to try and put a tree of life on the front of it. So we're gonna try and do this with some 18. What? Okay, now I have to scroll back up because okay, seriously, like no words in. Lori censored herself, I think, in an effort not to get censored. So apparently Twitch is just extra Baptist today. So anyway, alright, we're going to try and do this with some 18 gauge wire because I'm going to need some kind of like a back on it to kind of wrap my tree of life around. And we're going to use 26 gauge wire to make the actual tree of life. But the first thing I'm going to do, right? Fundamental Baptist. Possibly Twitch is even Pentecostal tonight. So the first thing I need to do is I need to cut some of that 26 gauge wire, and so that's what I'm going to start with. So I'm going to start with my 26 gauge wire, and I'm going to cut myself a bunch of pieces of it. Now typically when I make a tree of life, and I have done this as a tutorial, so if some of y'all are like, wait a minute, this sounds disturbingly familiar. Sorry, it's one of those there's not enough caffeine in the world kind of days. Oh, that's hilarious, Amy. So If this sounds familiar to you, it's because it is. Because I have actually done this on stream before. I've done a Tree of Life on a cabochon. I've never done one on a crystal point before. But when I'm making a Tree of Life, usually I'll use about a dozen pieces of wire. So I'm going to start with cutting 12 pieces of wire. And how long do I want to make them? That's a really good question that I hear you all asking in my head. We're going to do 5 inches each. So 12 pieces times 5 inches of 26 gauge wire. This could be 24 gauge wire as well, if that's what you have around. 26 is what I happen to grab, so that's what I am going to use. Yes. So, could I have pre-cut this before the stream? Of course I did. Did I? No, of course I didn't. Come on. Y'all know I'm not that prepared. So again, 12 pieces of 26 gauge wire at 5 inches each. And just to give you guys kind of a frame of reference, my crystal point's about 2 inches long. So you definitely need to, you know, just give yourself a little bit of extra just for the wrapping around and all of the twisting and everything. Wait, does Amy have to have a talk about with Dolly or with Heidi? Or both?
So do I need to have a talk with...
Oh, well, still. Okay, but the question remains, Dolly or Heidi? Or both?
Well, Heidi is Dolly's mom. So,
Fair.
I was thinking Heidi.
Okay. Yeah, so interesting story about today. Some of you who are normal stream viewers may have noticed that I got online a little bit earlier than is my normal, because the whole stream crashed last night as I was saying goodbye, and so when I rebooted everything just defaulted to broadcast immediately. So that was because Heather was like, Facebook says you're live, and I was like, I'm not live. I can't be live. I didn't toggle on live.
You were live.
And then my phone said Twitch also told me that I was live. I was like, oh crap, I am live. And I'm like, oh look, I'm live everywhere. Thank goodness I was on mute. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2 more. Also, my food is on the way. So if y'all see any
shady people out there?
People, you know, leaving things on the planter.
Okay.
That's why. Ordered Chinese food for the staff today because it's Friday. And typically I order lunch on Fridays. And we ordered Pei because I was very excited because they have all kinds of customization options, which is great because I'm a picky eater and also I have some really wonky food allergies. And so I entered in my food allergies, and they absolutely 100% did not pay attention. So I got my food that I ordered with all of the allergens in it that I had requested not be in it.
Great customization service.
Great customization service, exactly. Thank you, Uber Eats, for refunding my money for that order, but I'm still hungry, and it's been a busy day here actually at the Beading Dreams, so this is the first opportunity that I had to order replacement foods, which are on the way. So we're going to start by making the Tree of Life, and then I'm going to go ahead and try and wrap it around this crystal point. So when I'm making a Tree of Life, typically what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my 5-inch pieces of wire, and I'm just going to twist the center section of them, and I'm going to make that twist about 1 inch long. So usually this works best for me if I take my chain nose pliers and I grab one end of that 1 inch section. So basically, goodness, why so bright? Why so bright? You can take a nap, Heather. I'm not going to judge you.
Well, I took a couple minutes of nap at Safe Light.
Well, you could take a nap now and then just wake back up when I'm done with the stream and do closing stuff.
Carol might judge me. She's still working.
Well, fair, but she's going to go home, and then nobody's going to know if she takes a nap there or not.
I will be napping later tonight, yes.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's actually how nights are supposed to work.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, now that it's not quite so bright, so I've got my full span of wire. The middle's about here where my thumbnail is. So I'm going to go about an inch on either side, or not, about a half an inch on either side of that. I'm going to grab with my chain nose, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of splay these wires out a bit just so that they're easier for me to get my hands on, and then I'm going to just start twisting. Okay, so just start twisting. And the thing with the splaying out of the wires is that helps me get my hands on them so that my twist doesn't just extend so far down my wire. So just twisty, 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 twist. Ta-da! And you could sing a little twisty tree song if you wanted to, if you happen to have a twisty tree song in your head. Oh my gosh, I was having a bad day the other day, and Mandy called me, Mandy Head, she's on stream sometimes, and left me a completely ridiculous improvised song on my voicemail about how great I am, and it was pretty awesome, I'm not gonna lie. Apparently this is a talent she's picked up from having an infant, is now she can improvise goofy songs at the drop of a hat.
Yeah, it is a skill that one learns.
I had no idea, never having had an infant or really been around anyone who had an infant. I did not know that this was part of the deal. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I'm dividing.
Oh no!
Oh, Amy, that's totally like the passive-aggressive bullshit that my mother does to me. I'm gonna say don't waste the energy being offended, just let it go. Just Elsa that shit. And I'm not talking about your possessions. I'm all for decluttering, but it should be, you know, it should be one's own choice. And if you know, if one is seeking help with the decluttering, that's one thing. But when a relative comes to visit and then sends you a decluttering tutorial, yeah, I'm sorry, that's some passive-aggressive Midwestern bullshit right there.
Yeah.
I mean, I realize your mom is not Midwestern, but I feel like passive-aggressive Midwestern bullshit and passive-aggressive Southern bullshit are actually very similar. We could just completely just pluck. Oh, I'm not on Facebook.
What?
That explains why I have no viewers there. I don't know, it says, am I on, can somebody check and see if I'm on the books of the faces? Because it says unable to connect. Anyway, yeah, no, anyway, I think we could just pluck the regional qualification out of there and just say that's some, you know, passive-aggressive bullshit and leave it at that.
Yeah, you are no longer on. You were on.
Okay, let me try turning it off and turning it back on again. Just the Facebooks, not the whole stream. But I'm like, why don't I have any viewers? Why is nobody commenting from the light side of the Force tonight?
They heard you complaining about being live. So
Apparently, goodness. Okay, so for anybody who's like, Allison, please stop talking about passive-aggressive behavior and show me what you're doing. 2, 4, 3, 6, 9, 12. Okay, this math is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10.
There you are.
Okay, yay! Oh, I did. Okay, actually, I only did 13 wires instead of 12. So, oh, hey, Sharon. Yeah, apparently I was on Facebook and then I was not. So now I am, if you want to go back to the light side of the Force. For everybody who is just joining us on the Facebook stream, sorry, there was a little bit of a technical difficulty that I didn't realize until just now, which is that I was live, but not. So anyway, I was pretend live. Exactly, I was faux live on Facebook. But we were working on making a tree of life, and I'm going to try to wrap it around this crystal point. So what I've gotten to so far is I have cut, it was supposed to be 12, but it's actually 13 pieces of wire, 26 gauge wire that are about 5-ish inches long. I twisted them all about a 1-inch length in the middle. Excuse me. And then what I did whilst I was talking about passive aggressive behavior is I divided up on one side. I divided them into groups of 3, and I have one group of 4 because I accidentally cut 13 pieces of wire instead of 12. And then on the other side, I divided them into groups of 2. I know the whole like Twitch and the ads are a little bit annoying. I mean, the fact that, honest to goodness, one of the reasons that I don't raid streams more often, aside from the fact that I'm usually exhausted at the end of my streams, is that I have to watch a stinking ad. It's like I'm always late to my own raids because I have to watch an ad stream or an ad thing. Like, what the heck? So anyway, now I'm going to take all of these little groupings and I'm going to twist them. So I'm just going to grab with my chain nose pliers and I'm just going to spin the whole tree. So then I make a little twisty bit like so. So these groups of 3 are going to be my branches. So this twisty bit, I don't want it to be quite as long. I want it to be 3/8 of an inch-ish long. The other ones, the groups of 2, are my roots. I'm going to twist those longer. I'm going to twist those like an inch. I know, right? Stinking ads. I mean, I guess they have to support the platform somehow, but really? It is annoying. Alright, so I'm just twisting all of these groups, and apparently they don't want to be on camera while I'm doing that. Okay, so I've got this one, this one, this one, and I've got this one left to twist, this group of 3. Okay, so these are the branches. These are the roots. So the roots, like I said, are going to get twisted longer than the branch groupings, because what's going to happen is the branch groupings are going to get re-subdivided and the root groupings are not. So the root groupings I'm going to make longer, like 3/4 of an inch at least. So that's just going to take me a minute longer to twisty, twisty, twist. Carol's doing me a huge favor tonight with her epoxy party and gluing my little absinthe bottle that I made for my Halloween costume. What?
And then I broke.
You didn't broke it. It was never together in the first place.
Until now.
Until now. It just needed Carol's TLC. And a little bit of glue. So yes, very excited. We have decided that our next Freeform Friday is going to be Halloween costume jewelry, Freeform Friday. So I'm going to make my little absinthe necklace that I want to wear with my Halloween costume, which you will all see on stream on the 30th. And Amy's fired. Just gonna pretend I didn't see that comment. I see you, Amy.
Round or squish?
You are also fired.
I am also fired.
Get back on her.
Exactly. That's how firing
Carol
works.
unfired me.
Well, she does know how firing works here at the Beading Dreams.
I've been fired many times.
Alright, so
Today's my day off.
now we've got this.
You told me.
I did actually give you the day off, and you're still here. Now I'm going to spread these out. These are my little branches. I gave Heather the day off because she got her windshield fixed and she was having panicky moments about getting to work on time. So I just told her that she could have the day off.
So that way I couldn't be late.
So that way she couldn't be late. And magically, she was way more on time than me today.
I was the first one there.
Okay, so this is my little tree. I like my trees of life to be a little kind of twisty in the middle bits. So I'm going to grab my round nose pliers and I'm just going to do a little bit of kind of gnarling up. And yes, I'm saying that is a word of my tree. Like so. So now I'm gonna build kind of a frame on the back of my. So up to now we've pretty much been in comfortable territory for me. These are all things I've done before. This is where we're going with something that's new-ish. So I'm gonna kind of build a frame that's gonna sit on the back of my crystal, like so. So I'm gonna take my this is 18 gauge bronze wire. You could use 16 gauge too. I had concerns that 16 gauge would just be too stiff for what I'm trying to do. So basically I just need something that my tree of life can come around the back and anchor onto, and then something up here that I can make the bail from. So we're going to start with this and we're going to see how it goes, how it started versus how it's going. Currently it's going okay. This may change. It's a Freeform Friday stream, so you really never know what's actually going to happen. Okay, so proportion wise, I think that's a pretty good, place for that to be on my crystal. So I'm going to start wrapping around. And so I could probably do this without my frame that I just made, but here's the thing is I need a way to hang this. So if I just kind of wrap this tree of life around here, that's not going to help me with the bail stitch, which is where I'm thinking this wire is going to be really good. So this is going to be here, and so we're going to start by wrapping these two wires around there. And I think I'm going to find myself a marker where I need to wrap them around, because then, hey look, I marked my finger too. Isn't that exciting? That is not blood. A lot of these other things are. Also, I have a gigantic bruise on the back of my hand. I have no idea where that came from. That's always exciting. Okay, so I'm going to take these places where I have marked, and I'm going to anchor them onto this frame that I made, and then we can trim that off. And again, I'm starting at the bottom, so I'm starting with the roots section here. Alright, so then I'm going to take the other one that I marked, which there is a mark there. You can barely see it because most of the marker went up on my finger, but it's right there. Ah! Amy, that's mean. And yes, Lori, this could absolutely be done on a cabochon, and there is a tutorial somewhere out there on the internet that I did with this being on a cabochon. So absolutely, that could be done. Could be and has been done. Okay, so I'm just wrapping that around there. Da, da, da. Okay, so then we're just going to check in with our crystal, make sure that that still fits. It does. Okay, so now the remainder of these roots are going to go down around the bottom and make kind of a basket for our crystal to sit in, because of course we don't want it to fall out the bottom of our setting, because, that's a thing. So again, I'm just going to take these around the back. I'm going to mark them. So I've got that going on. So that's a really nice, secure kind of seat for my crystal. Of course, it all has to actually get wrapped on there, so I'm just gonna... The good thing about Sharpie and wire is it will come right off. Sometimes on your fingers, sometimes not, but you don't ever have to be scared to mark wire with Sharpie because it's, you know, very temporary. Okay, so there we go. And God, I cannot believe that Amy's son is going to be 20. Not cool. So now I'm just wrapping and trimming. Wrapping and trimming all of those things that I just marked. So let's see, whilst I am doing that, let's talk about, okay, tomorrow night we are doing a fun tutorial that's gonna teach you something. I don't know what it is. Oh, it's that. Cool. Yes! Yay for me for actually loading the picture in. So we're going to be doing a wire-wrapped cabochon tutorial tomorrow night because I brought a bunch of cabs back from Denver, though I wound up selling most of them to Tallyfat. But anyway, we are going to be doing a wire-wrapped cabochon, a nice simple wire-wrapped cabochon tutorial. Like, I'm a fan of a good fancy cab wrap just as much as the next person, but you know, sometimes you're just like, I've got this rock and I want it to be a necklace and I want that to happen quickly. And so that's what tomorrow night's about. It's just a really simple cabochon wrap tutorial without a whole lot of bells and whistles. And then of course we will be following that up with a live merchandise sale featuring more of our new merchandise from the Denver Gem Showcase. I'm going to be continuing with Tiny Shinies because I could not focus for crap on Wednesday. So we didn't get through very many Tiny Shinies. So I got a whole tray of Tiny Shinies for you guys, plus some cubic zirconia pave, maybe even some newly put out cubic zirconia pave. Gonna be Saturday's sale. Next week we've got a bunch of fun tutorials for you as well. I just this morning finished all the samples for next week's classes, and there's some very fun ones. On the schedule for next week, Ziggy Stardust also helped me with the samples, by which I mean he put his butt on everything, and it took me an extra probably 90 minutes to make the samples than it should have because of him. But no, that's what cats do. Hi, Corvus. How are you? It's nice to see you out there. Ah, hey, Mandy. I was just talking about you and your improvised song, and then Corvus distracted me with things. I will show you what's happening in my hands in just a second. Let me go ahead and wrap this one off real quick. Oh, that joke is never gonna die, is it? Like, the toads are just never gonna leave me alone.
It'll never die, unlike the toads.
You're fired again. Heather is now double fired. Amy is fired. Hi, Carol May. All y'all suck. Just saying. I love you and I hate each and every one of you. So, hey, Arun, welcome to the stream. The toads will haunt me forever. Oh, Lordy mercy. So yeah, for anybody who's just joining us, this is Freeform Friday, which means this isn't so much of a tutorial as a demonstration. So what I'm doing is I'm making a tree of life that I'm going to, I know, right? That is one of the things that makes me think that maybe I didn't kill any toads on the night of the alleged toad deceasement, because I feel like if I had killed toads, that Ziggy probably would have brought one of them inside the house. But,
yeah, the hunting was already done for it.
But I also feel like that's a pretty weak leg to stand on. So, what I'm doing is I've made this little tree of life, and now I'm gonna attempt to put it onto this crystal point. So I've got my Tree of Life, and I've got my 18 gauge wire, which I've made this little frame in the back. And then it was not a massacre, Amy. That's just over dramatization. Really. Not massacre the toads. Anyway, so I've used 18 gauge wire to make a frame for the back, and then I've used 26 gauge wire to make my Tree of Life. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of shove this crystal down into my little roots of my Tree of Life, and that's because I am mouse, come here, mouse. Yay. Yeah, so what I don't want is I don't want to see this frame. So I think what that means is I need to kind of separate this a bit so that I can get that crystal down just shoved a little bit further in there.
Thank you.
This may also mean that I need to separate some of these. Is that my foods is? Yay, food!
So many foods.
Well, there's only like 2 pieces in each box. I just ordered 3 orders because...
she got foodses.
Yeah, I did. I got foodses to replace the allergy-ridden foodses that I got earlier today instead of the non-allergy foods that I ordered. But yes, I did. I ordered spicy tuna and crispy rice, and it's like a 2-piece order. So I ordered 3 orders, and of course they put them all in separate boxes. Because, you know.
Look what I found.
Heather found a cider. That's awesome. Alright, so now that I've got the bottom kind of situated, now we're just going to work on the top. So, I can... Amy, I'm going to fire you again. So I'm going to start taking these around, and Heather's always rehired because, you know, the firings are really only ceremonial. So now I'm going to take my little, my little branches, and I'm going to spread those out, and then, you know, one at a time I'm going to take those around, and I'm going to anchor them onto the back here. Now, I have concerns about the fact that I'm probably just going to wind up spreading this back out, which I really don't want to do. So luckily for me, I have a piece of painter's tape that's just hanging out here. And so I'm going to just go ahead and tape these wires down in the hope that that's going to keep them where I want them to be. And then I'm going to literally, and this is going to be a little bit painstaking. So I'm just going to take each single wire and thread it underneath. Thread it underneath my 18 gauge. Pull it around. And once again, just 1.5, 2 times is all you need. This is not structural. The bail part's going to be structural, but the Tree of Life is really just decorative, so you don't have to worry about anchoring the crap out of it. You just need to make sure that it is, you know, bound up enough that it's not going to come off. And of course, make sure that pointy stabby goes away. So there you go. So there's my first branch, and I'm going to just continue on in that vein. So yeah, so tomorrow night is basic cabochon wire wrap followed by live merchandise sale. Next week we've got lots of fun stuff for you as well. Next week is also Zoom Crafty Cocktail Hour, which it's been forever since we had one of those. So that's gonna be Friday at 6 p.m. So I finally get to see all of you. I've missed you all so much. So that's gonna be next Friday at 6 p.m. If you need the meeting info, if you haven't Zoomed with us before, if you've misplaced the meeting info, just go ahead and give us a shout at beadingdreamsdallas@gmail.com or in Discord, and we will get that to you. We will also try and post the correct meeting info not the incorrect meeting info. But the correct meeting info in Discord the day of the Zoom. So that's going to be next week. We're going to continue new merchandise sales because we have a lot of new merchandise that we're going to be running through the stream for the next at least week, probably more than a week, honestly, because I got a lot of merchandise. And yeah, so next week is good, looking good to be a fun week on the Beading Dream stream. And again, I'm so incredibly happy to be back with all of you. I did miss you all terribly whilst I was away from tutorials, though I do have to say that I am getting back to my schedule of creating content on a weekly basis. That has taken some getting used to. So anybody who wants to check in, that's so far what the Tree of Life is looking like. So I'm just going to keep attaching my little branches to the back. But anyway, so yeah, it was literally yesterday at like 5 o'clock. I was like, oh crap, I have to make classes for next week. I haven't even started. What is tomorrow night's cocktail, Carol May? That's a great question. So tomorrow night for our signature Saturday sip, we have decided to make what we are calling a Bangkok martini. So if you have some Thai basil, go ahead and take some Thai basil leaves, put them in a cocktail shaker, squeeze half a lime in there, muddle it up. That means smash the crap out of it. And then pour some gin in there. We're debating on the decision to add vermouth or not. Shake it up and serve it. That's tomorrow night's cocktail. Any ring wire wrapping in the near future, Corvus? That's a good question. Nothing next week. I actually had a soldered ring that was supposed to be on the schedule for next week, but I had to take everything home and woke up this morning at 7 a.m. to do all the class samples, and the ring was not cooperating. It needed a little bit more help than I could give it at my house because I don't have all the tools at my house that I have here. So there's a soldered ring that's definitely going to be coming to the stream week after next, but I will hey Heather, can you remind me that Corvus wants a ring wire wrapping class?
Yes.
Thank you. Hey Mandy, there are plenty of people besides just me who like gin. Just because you're a vodka girl doesn't mean that gin is bad.
She could add those to vodka.
You could absolutely do that with vodka, for sure.
But we're gonna add ours to gin.
But we're gonna do ours with gin. Okay, so continuing on, I'm not super thrilled with this right here. I really want that to just like scoochy up crystal a bit, and so we're going to try the tried and true method of let's yank on it and see what happens. Okay, and that actually worked. I love it when that method works. It's awesome. Unfortunately, sometimes that method results in tragedy. But what I wanted was I wanted this to be a little bit more lined up with this particular face of the crystal, which it's not completely, but it's definitely better now than it was. Okay, so continuing on with, and so yeah, continuing on with the last, I've got 6 little branchies left, and so my goal here is going to be to try and kind of enclose the top of my crystal with the little branches. This is a good trick if you can't get your fingers in there. Yes, you can use your pliers. Tools are our friends. Remember to tuck in all your pointy stabbies. If you don't want to do that as you go, you definitely can leave that till the end, but you do need to do it at some point because nobody likes jewelry that tries to stab them. Okay, some people probably do, but most people don't. Ta-da! Alright, so So again, just anchoring those little branchies on there. Now, if anybody's like, those look a little bit loose on the side, you're not wrong. I'm going to show you how to tighten those in just a minute. The good news about the tightening method is it also makes them look cooler. So let's see, what else is there to talk about? I talked about our cocktail, thanks to Carol May. Thank you for reminding me about that. I talked about tomorrow night, sale, live stream next week. Halloween's coming. We're doing a costume stream, doing a costume Halloween jewelry making. Freeform in 2 weeks. That's it. I got nothing else. But I'm on my last branch.
Ziggy makes a really terrible bead mat.
Oh my god, Ziggy makes a really terrible work assistant. Like this morning when I got up extra early to make all of the class samples we should do a whole spoopy week.
Let's do a spoopy week.
Okay, so Halloween week is going to be all spoopy projects. Thank you, Corvus.
Yay!
But yeah, Ziggy decided he was going to help me, and by help me, I mean, okay, I have a craft room / office. So I live in a 2-bedroom flat, and I have a whole room that is dedicated to crafting and office, and I have a nice like 6-foot-long tabletop in that room. And of course, where did Ziggy need to lay? Right this morning, whilst I was trying to make class samples. Yeah, right there. Right in the bloody middle of the dang tabletop. Not at the end, out of the way. Oh no, just just right in the middle. And yes, so CZ Pave Charms. We just had a question about that, and we are going to have CZ Pave Charms, CZ meaning of course cubic zirconia, on the sale on Saturday. And we have lots of fun new CZ Pave Charms. We've got some really cool neon enamel ones. You may or may not have seen those on Facebook and Instagram. They go really well with the or the sale the other night. But there's some more neon ones that I didn't get to show on the sale the other night, and they go really great with that neon chain that was also on the sale the other night. Okay, so I'm almost done with this. I need to make some. I know, right? It's not his table, Corvus. Dang it! I bought it. I paid for it. Hey, Chuck Silverjoy. Yeah, it's a wire wrapping project tonight. Freeform Friday. So I'm putting this Tree of Life on this crystal.
One you paid for? Where's the one that you got for free?
Huh?
The island, is it in your kitchen or?
It's in my kitchen.
Okay.
Yeah, no, the craft table I paid for. Dang it! Ziggy did not contribute a dime to that table, and yet Corvus is not wrong. He does seem to think that he owns it. So last thing I need to do with this Tree of Life is I need to figure out how the heck I'm gonna hang it. So I'm kind of feeling bringing these forward to make a bail, because I want the bail, just generally speaking, you want the bail to be kind of centered over the center of mass of your rock or your whatever. Why do I have this stream sniffles? I don't understand why streaming makes me congested, but it really does. It's very odd. But anyway, you want your bail to be close to the center of mass of your piece. So if I were to take this and flip it back, this would be very front heavy. So we're going to try flipping it forward. So I'm going to grab my round nose, and it's not the best tool for this job. A bail making pliers would be ideal, but I need something that's cylindrical. Crochet hook. Ta-da! Take my crochet hook, flip this forward over my crochet hook. That's going to make me a curve. So the reason that I just fished for my crochet hook versus my round nose pliers, of course, is because the crochet hook is a cylinder and the round nose pliers are a cone. Okay, so cone is not what we want in this instance because we're flipping 2 pieces of wire, and we want those curves to be the same. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my chain nose pliers and I'm going to squish this in. And yes, squish is, for anybody who is paying attention, a technical term. We're going to squish that in, and that is going to somewhat dramatically deform that bail that I'm making, and that's okay. As long as I've got my wires lined up right, I can definitely fix that. Alright, so what I've got here is kind of a proto rabbit's ear bail. I've got my 2 loops. This one needs to come up just a fuzz. Like so. And then I'm just going to pick one of these 2 wires. It doesn't even at this point matter which one. So I'm just going to pick the longer one, and I'm going to wrap it around to kind of hold all of this together. And again, if you need to engage a pliers to help you wrap this, I highly recommend doing so. Alright, so I've reached the end of my wire. I'm just going to kind of tuck that in. Now, since I haven't wrapped this super tightly around here, what I don't want to do is well, first of all, I do want to tuck in that pointy stabby end. I'll get to that in a minute. But I don't want to just chop this off, because then if there's any pressure put on this bail, it's just going to pull back through. If I had been more successful in wrapping this more tightly, then that would have been a feasible option. But at this point, with the level of tension I was not able to get on that, that's really just not a good idea. So I'm going to turn that negative into a positive, and I'm going to use this to make a little decorative spiral. I'm just going to take my round nose pliers, and I'm going to make a loop like so, and then I'm going to grab my chain nose and just coil that up, make a cute little spiral that's just going to sit right here at the top. And then I can take my bail and make it an actual rabbit ear bail by just kind of getting my pliers in there and spreading my sides out. And I kind of like the fact that it's crossed there. I think that looks actually pretty cool. You don't have to flare your rabbit ears quite this extremely, but I do think in this particular piece it does look sort of fun. And then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to do some Z-bends to both make this a little more interesting, our branches and our roots, and also to tighten everything up. To do a Z-bend, you're just going to take your chain nose pliers, you're going to grab a wire, and you're just going to twist like so. And you're just going to grab each wire, twist, make your Z-bends, and what this does is this makes your wires look a little bit more like kind of gnarly tree limbs, which of course is what we're going for, but also this is going to help tighten your wires up, okay, because that Z-bend takes up length. So we're just going to tighten all those wires with our Z-bends. You can make multiple bends in one wire if you're so inclined. With the 26 gauge wire, you just have to be careful. Like if I'm going to do a second Z-bend in this wire, what I want to do is just put my finger down over the first, because otherwise what's going to happen is my second one's just going to completely yank out my first one, which is obviously not what I want. And then with my roots, I can actually Z-bend these twisted sections as well to make them look extra gnarly and cool-tastic. Alright, and there we go. That is my completed Tree of Life on a crystal point pendant, except for that. I don't like that, so that is definitely slated for another Z-bend or two. There we go. Alright, so there's the front. Here is the back. I do want to make sure that I tuck in all my pointy stabbies. I didn't do a fantastic. Thanks, everybody. I didn't do a great job of that tucking in just because I was talking and demonstrating. So you do always want to just kind of take a finger over the back of your piece when you've got something like this and take note of any places that you need to do some extra tucking in of your ends. But for the most part, my piece is finished and it is in there nice and securely, okay? That crystal is not going anywhere. And that was a crystal point that had no hole at all. Okay, so this, if you have crystal points laying around that have no hole. This is a really, thanks Carol May, this is a really great way to set them. So thank you all so much for hanging out with us on the Freeform Friday stream to do our Crystal Point Tree of Life. So for anybody out there who doesn't know me, I'm Allison from Beading Dreams in Dallas, Texas. We are an actual brick and mortar retail bead store. That means we are here in Dallas on Lovers Lane, and if you want to come see us, you can do that anytime, Monday through Saturday, 1 p.m. till 6 p.m. If you're not local in Dallas, you can find us on this channel, twitch.tv/Beading Dream, 5 times a week with complimentary tutorials. We do stream Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at 6 p.m. Central Time, and we do also do a Thursday noon stream. That's a little bonus, usually easy, fun lunchtime crafting stream, and of course live merchandise sales every Wednesday and Saturday at 7:30 p.m. That means you'll see us next on this channel, twitch.tv/Beading Dream, Saturday evening at 6 p.m. with this tutorial. This is our basic cabochon wire wrap. It's got a little bit of finesse to it with that woven wire bail, but really if you just want to take a cabochon, snap it in some wire, and be able to wear it on a necklace, tomorrow night's tutorial is going to be great for that. And then we will of course be following that with a live merchandise sale featuring tiny shinies and cubic zirconia Pave Charms. So everyone have a wonderful rest of your Friday night. And we'll see y'all back on this channel, twitch.tv/Beading Dream tomorrow, Saturday night at 6 p.m.